talk about alignment. What does it mean when your business development, when building your book, is in alignment with growing your wealth? You're not going to want to miss it. All right. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Kel, what's going on today?
Oh, you know what? Today is a good day.
Every day is a good day.
Well, every day is a good day. Today's a good day at the Wealthy Lawyer because I have an idea.
All right. Okay.
This episode is the alignment episode. We love talking about alignment in so many parts of our lives, right?
Yep.
You know, you got to be in spiritual alignment, physical alignment, financial alignment, career alignment. But over the last 2 episodes, we took some time to focus on what I do, helping people start to orient themselves to building the kind of practice that they want to have that's going to help them get to the life that they want to lead, right? All centered around why it is that they want that in the first place, right? In the next episode, we talked about the same anchor, the why, and how that drives them to creating a financial plan that will help them get to those same success goals, right?
Yep.
But, you know, it's not really great unless those 2 parts are in alignment.
Right.
And we know that sometimes we get out of alignment in things.
Yeah. I think it's so easy to get out of alignment. Right? Because you think about all the pressures in the world, whether it's the pressures within the firm, pressures from clients, pressures from family, pressures from the bank, whatever the world is.
Internal pressure.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
It's fighting all that off and trying to stay aligned. I know that's for a lot of people I deal with, very tricky tightrope to walk.
Very tricky.
Right?
Very tricky. And in the world that I'm in, it's tricky to stay the course because there are always shiny things out here. Oh, you know, that client or that file isn't really aligned with where I'm going to go, but it's going to make the firm a lot of money, or it's going to make me a lot of money, or it'll contribute to my path to partnership. So maybe I'll just do that anyway. It's
easy to get and I love the shiny object kind of idea, because it's true. It's even on the financial side. It's, you know, whatever that shiny thing is, whether it's, you know, today a lot of people talk about real estate. I got to invest in real estate. If I'm not really investing in real estate, I'm losing money. It's like, no, that's not the way it is. If that doesn't align with what you're trying to do in the timeline you're trying to accomplish it, in the way that you're wanting to do it,
right? It
might work for you. You could buy all the real estate in the world, and that could work really well for you. It might not work for me because my needs are entirely different.
Right.
So, like you said, just has to stay aligned with back to the why.
Back to the why. Back to the why is the anchor, but it's also back to the plan. So we each talked in our respective previous episodes about the importance of a plan.
Yeah.
And I do want to, in the next episode, I want to get a little bit more granular about what it looks like to build a BD plan. And then I would actually like to get more, because I had so many more questions for you about how you build an actual financial plan. So that's going to come up. But the importance of that plan in keeping you on track and keeping you moving in the right direction. And the thing that we didn't say specifically that is so critical is, not only do you have to follow the plan, you have to create the plan, you have to follow the plan, but you have to check back on the plan to see where you are. You might be off course, you might be out of alignment, but it's that plan that is your guide, your anchor, that keeps you moving in the direction.
And I think, you know, at least from my side especially, and it might be the same on the business development side, the plan needs to be flexible.
Yeah.
I think that too many people get too rigid in the way that they think, and they think that if they fall off just a little bit this way or that, that's going to throw the whole thing off. And it doesn't need to. I mean, as we talked about in the last episode, life happens.
Yeah.
Right? Curveballs come, whether it's professionally, whether it's you know, within the family, whether it's financially, things just happen.
Yeah.
If your plan is so rigid that it doesn't allow a bit of flexibility to pivot this way or that, you're going to fall off. You're not going to follow it.
Yeah.
And I think that, especially on the financial side, it's having a little buffer, you know, that you can maneuver a little bit this way or that, that will allow you to stay the course a lot better.
Yeah.
Right. The more flexibility you build into it, the more you're likely to stick to the plan, I think.
Yeah. Right? And I talk about the same thing with my clients when we're working on business development or strategic planning. we talk about agility. So the same thing. I mean, you need to build a plan that will help you get to where you need to go or you want to go, but you do have to be a little bit agile because things do change and you need to be able to adapt in the moment. So when we're talking about alignment and subsequently misalignment, because misalignment happens, I'd like us to talk a little bit about what happens both when we see our clients in alignment. What are some of the indicators when we're doing those check-ins with them? How do we know that they are in alignment with the plan that they've set out for themselves? And then what happens, or how do we help them or coach them when they fall out of alignment? How do we help them take that flexibility, use that agility, and get back on track?
You know, and it's funny because it is so rewarding when you see clients that are aligned, that it is working, that it's working for them, right? I can see it. Actually, it's funny because I had a Zoom call with a client the other day. We've been working together for a couple of years now, and you know, what used to be this and very stressed and very furrowed brow and very upset looking all the time, was really kind of chill and relaxed. And, you know, he didn't have the same energy. It was really kind of a strange, I wish I could do a side by side before and after.
So there was like a visceral change in
Huge.
Where he was before and where he is now. So he's in alignment. What's the difference?
He feels he's in control now, right? So for him, before it was, you know, bills coming in and you know, we got this debt to pay, I got that to pay. There was no real plan. It was all helter-skelter.
Yeah.
As he says now that he's got a plan, and as we talked about in one of the last episodes, for him, the plan is involving having a job for each dollar that he makes, right? So now he knows X dollars goes to here, X dollars goes to there. I've got this little pot that I can play with. It's easier for him to stay to the plan.
Yeah.
To keep it aligned.
It takes a while for habits to form.
Yeah.
But so would you say that the key to him being in alignment is that he's stuck with it through you said in the last episode, change can be painful. Change is usually painful, right? Like, we don't want people to be in pain, but we do want them to stretch outside of their comfort and do a little changing. So how long would you say it took that particular individual to feel in alignment with the thing that he was changing into?
It took almost a whole year worth of doing it.
Wow.
It took a while.
Yeah.
Because it was a massive change for him.
Yeah.
You know, he makes good money.
Yeah.
So he can afford. His exact words were, I don't think about how I spend my money because I know I can afford it. That was his mindset when we first met.
Interesting.
So for him, the idea of saving was foreign because he had more money coming in and he was buying and using and enjoying life.
Yeah.
Changing the mindset to, okay, I can do that, but I can still be intentional with saving for the future, for an emergency, for my retirement, whatever it is, was a mindset shift. His complaint to me, so we did monthly check-ins, and then it quickly we deviated and became quarterly check-ins, but for the first 3 months we were diligent. He hated me. That's fine. I'm okay. Because he said we had it where on the day that the money hit his account from his firm, money was coming directly out, same day. So it was money
So
that
he never even got to appreciate it.
never got to see it. There's money in, money out.
It's an evil trick, but it's smart.
And it worked for him,
Yeah.
right? But he said for the first 3 months, he'd be like, I hate you because I just, but I love you at the same time. Like, it was one of those. And as he started to see the bank balance go up,
Yeah.
and he wasn't paying credit card bills every month and not having to deal with that anymore,
Yeah.
it was fun for him. He could feel the burden coming off his chest, off his shoulders.
Yeah.
And now he's a lot more carefree,
Yeah.
which is great.
So his quality of life has improved
For sure.
dramatically, not just by virtue of him giving every dollar a job so that he
Right.
can continue to do, but the feeling that comes, the sense of alignment that's come into his life, knowing and having certainty that this is all happening.
Well, and I think that's exactly what it is. It's the comfort in knowing that he's on the right path for him now, right? And I think it's the same thing, when I talk to some of the lawyers that I deal with, the same people that you do, when it comes to their practice, right? Because it's like, you know, if one part's out of alignment, it's like a car, right? If one wheel's out of alignment, everything's shot, right?
Yeah.
And I find it's the same thing in talking to them. If they have financial stress, then it bleeds into, I think, what they're doing in their work life.
Absolutely, because if they have financial stress, then they are frantically trying to get new business and build their book because they have to.
Right.
And that's not a great place for anybody to be in, right? Because then you really do have to say yes to everything, or you really do need to chase everything. You really need to cut down every tree in the forest.
Yeah.
But when you're not feeling stressed financially, and you do have the time to think about which files, which clients you're going to pursue with intention because they align with your future vision, then I see that kind of alignment happening too.
And I think that when one falls out of alignment, the other will fall out of alignment.
Of course.
Conversely, when things are cooking and going the way they should, they mirror each other.
They ideally do. But we have both seen lawyers that have one or the other of these situations where, let's think about the senior partner who's making lots of money, is not saving any of it. And so there's like business success, bringing in tons of work, filling the coffers of lots of people working underneath him or her.
Right.
So BD is successful, practice growth is successful, but not holding on to any of the money. And he's actually stressed about, I'm never going to be able to retire.
And that's why it's funny you say that, Kelly, because a lot of the older clients that I deal with are saying exactly that.
I know.
Right? They know that they've made mistakes. They know they've wasted a lot of the money that they've made along the way, a lot of their hard work.
Yeah.
Right? So the thing I get a lot is, God, I wish I'd met you 20 years ago.
Sure.
I wish we'd start working sooner. I wish I'd started doing this earlier. It's some fashion of that.
Some version of that. So
That's
what
right.
do you tell them? Because we spend a lot of time in this podcast talking to young lawyers, right? Because we genuinely want them to start off early in their careers with the right mindset toward business development, whether or not they're supposed to be originating or expected to originate business yet. We want to start them off with a healthy mindset toward money and knowing that it's never too soon to start building your wealth. But what happens when you get those more senior women and men who come to us and say, I'm here. It's too late for me to start over. I wish I met you 20 years ago, to your point. Now what? How do you help them then?
Well, I think it's like anything. I mean, you are where you are, right? I mean, we can't turn back the hands of time. So it's, where are we today? And where do we want to get to within a reasonable time period? Through COVID, I was referred to a partner at a large firm, 58, 59 years old, and she was in that spot where she'd done all the right things in a lot of ways. Her kids, she put 2 kids through Ivy League schools, no debt, paid off the mortgage, housed a cottage, has everything debt free. So she doesn't owe anybody anything. Good. The problem is the other side of that is that she hasn't saved anything else. So in order to fund the retirement that she wanted within 5 years, she wanted to retire about 62, 63, she'd need to start selling off the cottage or something else.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Tough pill to swallow, right?
Yeah.
So what I said is, well, maybe 63 can become 65 or maybe 66. So we work a couple extra years.
Yeah.
Now, this is an individual that's making 7 figures, so doing very well for herself. So being able to save the money is not a problem now that she has intention.
Okay. So it's never too late to make a plan, is what you're saying.
You just have to adjust it.
Right. Adjust your expectations. You can't keep doing what you've been doing and expect a different outcome.
Or expect necessarily to do it as quickly as you might have otherwise thought or wanted, right?
Yeah.
I think that, with alignment, again, it's how hard do you want to work and what do you want to do for that? And I think that, when I talk to some of the and it doesn't matter what stage they're at, I think sometimes they have difficulty marrying their business success and their financial success. They think that they can have one, not the other, or they're willing to sacrifice one for the other. So, or they're not willing to sacrifice it. So when you're building out your practice, how do you make sure that alignment, first of all, that you're on the right course? Forget alignment, just are you on the right course? And then staying aligned to that. How do you find, dealing with some of the lawyers that you deal with, how do you get them to stay aligned?
Well, in a similar fashion, when you describe that client who actually physically looked changed when he came on to calls with you recently, I have the exact same experience when I'm coaching lawyers in their business development.
Right.
There is a point in time somewhere in their coaching program, and my colleague Jane talks about this all the time. She talks about it being a kick. So around 5-6 months into a coaching program that's typically a year long, we see physical changes in our clients when they show up for their sessions. This is because the first bit is sticky, because we're trying to rewire everything in their brain, change how they orient their thinking toward business development, what it actually means, why they're doing it, why they can't do it just like everybody else has done it. And it's hard to build new habits,
Right.
just like it's hard to build new financial habits. But what happens is when it starts to bear fruit, or when the seed starts to become a seedling growing out of the soil, they start to see and feel the impact of the things that they're doing. Then they can feel that the future is possible.
Right.
If I just keep doing more of the same, the hardest part is figuring out what it is that feels right. And in the beginning, like with anything, you kind of have to feel your way through it. We can set some objectives, we can set some actions that they can start to take. Some of them are going to feel really good. Some of them aren't, and those won't stick. So we try to find the way, but once they get on the path and they start seeing results, they start having people call them, they start getting referrals. People aren't saying no to having lunch with them or having a coffee or receiving an email or any of the number of things that people do to deepen the relationships that lead to business.
Yeah.
When they start to feel like it's coming back to them, they physically change. And then they want more of that, just
Sure.
like your client wanted more of that feeling, more of the money in the bank, more of the things.
They get excited about it.
They do.
Now, what derails most lawyers in that case? What takes them off their alignment, do you find?
Yeah, big files, big life interruptions, demands of family, demands of just the demands of the day-to-day. Sometimes it's hard to stay focused on business development.
Right.
Maybe you've got a months long hearing or trial that's happening. There are always things that sideline you, that take you off. It's like when you stop going to the gym. You can go to the gym religiously. I'm not speaking from personal experience. You can go to the gym religiously every day for years. If you stop for even 2 weeks, it is so hard to get back. And the first couple of weeks are just as hard as the first weeks were, right? You can get results more quickly when you come back to it. It is the exact same process. So when they get off track, they lose the habit of doing their business development activities, their non-billable work. It becomes very easy to discard it going forward, and then it's really hard to get back in. But it's a lot easier to be effective when they do come back in. Just like when you're trying to realign to your financial goals, you can get sidelined. You can come out of alignment.
Yep.
It feels icky to come back into alignment, but you can get there, and you don't lose ground.
Right.
You don't lose ground. You get there. You continue.
See, in the financial side, you can get derailed pretty easily,
You sure
right?
can.
And small changes can have big impact. So, good and bad.
Yeah.
So that's the importance in my world when the clients want to do this, if they're very diligent and want to have that feeling of, oh, thank God this is working.
Yeah.
It's keeping tabs on it and checking in periodically and fairly regularly at first.
Yeah.
to make sure that you don't fall too far off the rails, so that you don't go 2 weeks without going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right? It's easier to get back on that treadmill if it's only been a day or two.
If it's only been a short amount of time.
That's right.
Same exact thing on business development. You may get taken off track a little bit from time to time. If you get back into your habits, get back into your healthy BD habits, make it more a part of your day the way that it was when you were feeling great about it, then you will pick up where you left off. So our whole message around alignment is it's okay to fall off of what you're doing with intention around either building your book or growing your wealth. But the importance is to be checking in regularly enough that you catch yourself when you're out of alignment and to get back on your plan.
Well, and I think that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, in my world, I try to get it to where they start to realize it before.
Oh, they're the ones checking in 100%.
Right.
And that's absolutely what I mean. Get them to the point that they are checking in.
That
not
they don't
that they
need us. Yeah.
We want them not to need us, right? Both of us do. So we're going to wrap this up with one thing, one tip that you give your clients to make sure they're checking in and making sure that they are not too far off track. How do you tell them to do it?
For me, it's easy because there's a scorecard.
Money in the bank.
Money in the bank, right? Do you have more today than you did yesterday? If you don't, that's a problem. If you do, then we're doing something right. Maybe not everything perfect, but we've obviously done something right, or they've done something right, right? What is it on the BD side? Do you have a similar scorecard?
Yeah, I mean, it's less of a scorecard than you have because it isn't equal money in the bank, right? Revenue is the lagging generator of success, the lagging indicator of success in BD, right? It's the upfront work. It's more about the consistency.
Right.
So if they haven't been consistent, if they haven't done something to deepen a relationship, make a new relationship, follow up with an old connection, do something in service of their profile, if they haven't done it all week, they need to get back on it. They need to look at why. They need to look at the things that are getting in the way and block those times.
Well, and I think one of the things that we're going to get from this, or that the listeners are going to get from this, is some of that step-by-step guide as we go along. What are those next steps to stay aligned, to stay on course, to get to that next goal?
Absolutely.
And so I think in these next few episodes, we're going to get pretty granular with them. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Can't wait. See you next time.
See ya.